research. It's coming up to 12 minutes past 7.
The way GCSEs will be assessed in the future is changing. It's been described by the exams regulator Ofqual as the biggest shake-up of exams in England for a generation.
There'll be no coursework and the traditional A to C will no longer exist. Instead, grades will range from 1 to 9.
But not all students perform well in exams, so how will teachers ensure everyone has a fair chance? Joining us is Andy Green-Howard, who's the head teacher of a secondary school in Runcorn. Very good morning to you.
Good morning.
I expect teachers, also students, parents will listen to that and think, what does this all mean? What do you think it means?
I think everyone's thinking, what on earth does this mean? The changes are radical. I think they're needed. They're definitely much needed, but I think they're being rushed in too soon. I don't think there's enough consultation. I don't think there's enough explanation about why the changes are being done the way they are. Why, for instance, is English and maths going out a year early?
The difficulty is it's not just for the pupils themselves, but for the future, for employers who are going to look at various figures, numbers, and just get very confused.
It does get very confused.
Effect, doesn't it?
It does, absolutely. And the fact is there's going to be one year group of school leavers who go out with numbers 3s and 6s in English and maths, but A's and B's in history and geography and French. And how are employers going to know what that means? The trouble is, they're moving from an 8-point system to a 9-point system, and they're saying this is a radical shift, but I don't think it really is.
Let's just talk about the sort of a focus on the English and maths, and also the focus that they're talking about being really very much more on exams.
Yes.
That doesn't suit everyone.
No, it doesn't. It suits boys better than girls as well. So
does it?
yeah, boys are much better at revising very tight to the deadline and doing the exam the next day, whereas girls do so much better if they've got time to prepare and show the long run really. But equally well, my big worry isn't so much that; it's about the quality of marking. History and English already have problems with the quality of marking, with the deeper questions, more subjective answers, and they're going to say that they're going to put a lot more deeper questions, a lot more tougher questions in these exams. Who's going to mark these? How do you make sure there's quality there?
And how do you teach it? Because you're going to have a strange period where you've got one set of pupils who are working to a totally different criteria.
Without much time to prepare for it. We're going to be told that we're going to get the choice to choose our exams and our qualifications next December, and that gives us 2 terms to prepare for teaching. Without any textbooks ready for that, how do we know what emphasis to put on things?
So, I mean, you're not at all positive really about it. Do you think the system you would leave it as it is then? Or
no, it needs changing. It definitely needs changing. I think it needs a pause. It needs more time. It needs to engage with the teachers and engage with the teaching profession. Really, I think my biggest worry is that this is a political move more than potentially anything else. Why not hand the whole thing over to something like National College and take it away from politics, make it like the International Battle Royal, an independent organisation to do this properly?
Andy, thank you very much for coming in.
Let's continue with pick up some of those thoughts at least actually. We've got chief regulator Glenn Stacey joins us from our Westminster studio. Very good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Can you just clear up first of all, so in the first instance, English and maths will be under this new system. Why just those subjects?
Well, they are the most important subjects. They're taken by all students. And what we are doing here is not rushing reform, as your headmaster suggested. We are focusing very hard and long on these really important subjects to get them right for students. They'll be going into schools in the autumn of 2014, first taught from September 2015. I do think when we look at this, we need to look at what we expect young students to be able to achieve, and most parents want them to achieve as well as possible in school, and good qualifications really help and really matter.
But a lot of parents are going to be tearing their hair out because the one thing that upsets them is change to a new system, less coursework. Why have you felt it necessary to change it so dramatically?
These are radical changes, that's right, and we believe they are needed in order to get these qualifications to the standard that they need to be, to get the best possible qualifications for our students. Now, when I talk with teachers in schools, there's not a great deal of support for the way GCSEs are designed at the moment. As your headmaster has said, there is a consensus around the need for change.
And what do you say to those children and parents who will have basically 2 sets of exams results, some of them with a numbered system, some with an alphabetical system, going on to their employers and all the rest of it? What do you say to them who are concerned about the sort of confusion, actually?
I think we are not going to get to those grades until June 2017, so we've got a good amount of time to get used to the idea. But the important thing is that we are focusing on just 3 subjects first of all, very significant subjects. We need time to get those right. Teachers need time to adjust to these changes as well. There'll be further phases of change coming forward, and what I would ask people to consider is first of all what we are seeking to achieve here in really improving the teaching and learning experience, but also look beyond the next 2 years, look to the next 5 years and the next 10 years. This is a